The captains this week be McManus and Selby on offense, Rodney Allen and Gary Thompson on defense, and we just got to go out this week and become a better football team. I wish I could put one finger on whether it be defense not playing well, offense not playing well, or special teams, but we just got to get better overall as a team, and that'll be the goal for this week is to go out and get better in all three phases and have a great week of preparation and come back and play. And you guys have watched FAU for a number of years like I have. They're a talented football team that can be a dangerous team. You got the defensive preseason player of the year at defensive end in Hendrickson. That one linebacker was freshman of the year last year, number 2. So you look at them on tape, they're talented. Their quarterback, of course, Driscoll's back for his second year, and he's an experienced quarterback. So it's going to be important that we have a great week of preparation and go out and play well.
It seemed like last week you mentioned Rodney Allen and Gary Thompson being captains this week. It seemed like Rodney really elevated his play last week, and Gary also had a really good individual performance. But
yeah,
you're getting a couple of individual performances. What does it take to mesh that into the entire team?
Well, we got to play more consistently. You take a look at the defense, and for X number of plays, they play extremely well. But there's about 14 plays in that game where you gave up well over 200 yards, on particular plays. So it's just like, and you got to become more consistent. I think the biggest thing if you take a look at defensively and offensively, if you just put your finger on one thing, which is hard to do, but you got to get off the field on third down, you got to convert on third down, and that's probably, we've been really, really good at that the last 3 years defensively. One of the top teams in America of holding people. Getting off the field on third down, and for the most part, offensively, we've done a good job of converting on third down. So, improving those two areas, you're going to help yourself a lot. So if there's just one thing, offense and defensively, I would say that's probably it. We got a lot of things we need to improve on.
It seemed to be tough on the defense after that fake punt was successful. They gave up 5 double-digit plays in the next 9 for a touchdown. I mean, how tough was it on that?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, it's this thing called sudden change, and we work out this defensively when there's sudden change occurs, and you got to go out there and you got to find a way to get a stop. And at the end of the day, the fake punt shouldn't have happened, but when it did, and the defense has to go back out there, you got to find a way to get them stopped. And unfortunately, as you mentioned, we didn't get that done.
I know we've seen you all do that same rugby-style punt, and it's almost a read, and I think Bedvik even took off with one earlier this year himself. Is that a read for the punter?
Yeah.
If everybody doesn't stay disciplined, then you can take off with it?
It is, and we've done, like I said, we did it against Louisville, and unfortunately they did it against us.
FAU's rushing attack, I think it's Howe.
Mm-hmm.
What have you seen growth-wise from him in the last couple of years?
Well, he's a big kid. That he's number one. He's a 200-pound plus back, and he breaks tackles. He's a physical runner, and he's just gotten better because he's a year older. And they got a couple behind him. They got a couple of young kids that like to play. That one's a freshman. I think one's a redshirt freshman that have the ability to get on the perimeter. So they got 3 backs. They play a lot. Howe being the number 1 guy, and he's a big physical guy, which the other 2 guys are more scat type backs.
I understand Hendrickson. They put Hendrickson in a goal line or short yardage package last week.
Yeah, I wonder why he's wearing jersey number 11 in the game, but they did. They put him on the goal line situation at fullback, and he was a tight end in high school, so he's got the ability to catch a ball. But they put him in at fullback in a goal line situation offensively.
Speaking of tight ends, last year I seem to remember their tight end Tyler Cameron caught a few balls and was able to make some things happen. Does he remind you of anybody you all played against?
Oh, you know what? He's gotten a lot better. He was a quarterback transfer from Wake Forest, and they moved him tight end last year. And I think a year ago, he was just learning how to play the position. And if you watch him now, he's become a guy that has played tight end now. He's more comfortable playing that position. They're doing more with him. So he hurt us on a couple of things a year ago, and from that position. So we're well aware of who he is and what he can do.
I noticed FAU has 24 people on the roster from Palm Beach County, and that shouldn't be a surprise, but have you sensed a re-emphasis in that particular county?
Yeah, I don't know, Doug. I mean, there's Charlie's recruited down there a long time as an assistant at Wisconsin, and everywhere he's been, Pitt, Arkansas prior to becoming the head football coach there. So he's hit Broward, Dade, Palm Beach, but it's like, everybody we play, or not everybody we play, but most people in our conference are located in places that have an awful lot of good football players. And if you're FAU, you should concentrate on Palm Beach and Broward and Dade County because there's enough players right there to have enough players where you have a shot at winning a conference championship. And if you just get the right ones, and they've got a lot of the right ones.
Talked to Yurachek in here on Monday, and he said that there were a few plays where you didn't get a block executed, and if one particular block gets executed, it's a big play. How close were you all after watching the film?
There's a lot of that going. That happens a lot in a game, whether it be kickoff returns or whatever. You're one block away, but at the end of the day, we just got to make more plays. We got to go out and play better, as I mentioned, offensively and defensively and on special teams, and we got to become a better football team and be the best team on the field that particular day. So that's our goal for this week, and we're going to work hard to try to get that done Saturday.
Was the running game the most disappointing thing to you, or?
Well, there's a lot of things disappointing, but that was one. No question that you got to be able, and then a lot of those were being able to convert on third downs, and we didn't get that done. Whether it be 3rd and 1 or whatever, and you've got to be able to go get a yard at some point. And there was a couple of times in that game we didn't get that done. So.
How important is it, Doc, to get back home?
It's always great to get back home, and our kids, like I say, enjoy playing here. And at the end of the day, we got to find a way to win a football game, and being home, hopefully will help us.
How do you get Chase back on a more consistent track, shall we say?
Yeah, I think he's. I don't think there's any question. We got to help him with. I think everybody just got to step up and in all phases. In all positions, whether it be the running backs, O-line, wide receivers, everybody, and we just got to do a better job of getting him in a position to be successful and making plays. I mean, he's done an awful lot of good things, and we got to get back to doing that.
Will you try to continue with, maybe sticking with 2 backs as you did Anderson and Davis last week?
Well, we'll see. We'll see as it goes through the week here, Woody. We got Anderson got banged up a little bit. I'm not sure quite where he is. We'll find out this week, and we got to get Holliday Foster. And I mean, last year at this time, Keon Davis and Holliday Foster against his football team played the entire game, had over 200 yards rushing. In this particular game, that was the first game they'd played. So we got to get Keon and Holliday and Pittman and those guys going. And this time last year, we played FAU, Holliday and Keon were the only 2 healthy backs we had at this point. And they both played pretty daggone well. So we got to get them back to playing like they did a year ago.
You like to see those guys out in space a little more, get them the ball and let 'em.
I'd love to see him in space.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him in space one-on-one. To answer your question, yeah, we got to do a better job of getting him in space and getting that done.
If I remember right, this was Hollig's sort of breakout game, wasn't it? He had taken reps, and I think starting with Kent State or something like that, but this was the game that Devin got hurt, and Holliday came in with a 66-yard burst.
Pittman, I think, had gotten hurt the week before or something, I think, and you guys got better memories than I do. But I think this may be the first game. I know it's the first game that both of them saw extensive action, and maybe the first time Keon played. I don't know, but again, they both played well, and we got to get them. We got to make sure we get them to do that on Saturday.
Henderson wasn't really a factor in last year's contest. What was it that you all were able to really get accomplished against him that sort of neutralized him?
Well, our tackles did a pretty good job of getting him blocked, and we helped him with some formations and some things that help him with chips and some things like that. So we've got to. He's a good player. He's an excellent football player. So you got to always be aware of where he is, and you got to help our guys up front with protections and with some backs and tight ends and that type of thing to help us with him.
What's he do best? Is it a motor thing, or?
I think it's a combination of everything. He's a little bit like he reminds you a little bit of the Blake Kellers and the Gary guy. He plays hard. He was a tight end type guy in high school, so he's a very athletic kid that can run, and he does have a tremendous motor, and he plays hard for him.
Do you see some of the Florida guys from your all's team where there's so many get a little bit hyped up to see a Florida team coming in here and seeing some guys that they might know? Well,
I'm sure these guys know. Some of our Florida guys know a lot of these guys, but I think our guys, just need to focus on getting better as an individual and getting better as a team right now. You know, I think we need to worry more about ourselves right now, and there's no doubt. I mean, hopefully at this point they're excited to play whoever comes in here. You know, I know, you know, and to find a way to win a football game. So I think they need just to focus on getting better as a player and eliminate the noise and just find a way to get better as a player. Therefore, we get better as a team.
Your tight ends, Yurchek and Bird, I mean, obviously two of the best athletes on the team. I don't know if it's true, but it seems like Chase is trying for the home run ball maybe a lot more than he did last year, and he was a freshman then, so that might have something to do with it. But I know you've always liked getting those tight ends out there, play the slot, play the tight end, play the H-back, and get them the ball. It's the hardest position, I think, in football to cover because it's usually a linebacker or safety against those guys with great talent.
Yeah, well, I think number one, I think is you got to try to get the ball to your playmakers, and we think those two guys are two of our better players, and I think they were targeted 5 to 6 times. I think Saturday, I don't know exactly. I think they had 4 or 5 catches between them, but there's no question that we got to try to get the ball to them more, Woody. There's no doubt.
Michael Clark, is he even farther than you thought he might be?
I think possibly. Yeah, I think he is. You know, I think he's. You know, he's. Michael Clark is. He's just, you see him growing every day. You know, he gets better every day, and the more he plays, the better he's going to get. And he's a handful because of his length. You know, so we got to try to continue to take advantage of that length and hopefully continue to make plays.
Is there a correlation between those two aspects that they just brought in, the tight ends? Are you all seeing any, you know, defensive schemes geared toward taking the tight ends away and forcing you to go to Clark and McManus?
Well, not so much. I think what happens to you is when you get, you know, at times when they load the box and they put yourself in a one-on-one situation out there at receiver, you got to be able to win. You know, and Clark has won a couple times. We haven't won near enough, and but we have to. Sometimes there's a point in that game where they get too many people in the box, and you have to be able to win on the perimeter. And Clark at times has been able to do that, and I think we need to become more consistent at having the ability to do that.
McManus the other night, it seemed like he got open on 2 or 3 different occasions, and even though those plays didn't hit, Chase might have had a couple overthrows to him or something along those lines. What are you seeing from him growth-wise?
Well, he's a captain this week, and he's just for the first time since he's been here, and you know, you see him. He's more mature. You know, he's showing some leadership skills out there. He goes to work every day. He works extremely hard. So, you know, we just need to, like I say, we got to do a better job of making plays at every position. And he's a talented guy that's got to make plays, and he's working extremely hard to get that done.
I'm seeing that FAU's got a 6'7" receiver.
They do. I coached his dad, and they recruited his dad. His name is Terry from South Dade. And his dad was a receiver for me, and matter of fact, his brother was too. And but he's a big 6'6" kid that played tight end for him a year ago. You guys may remember him, big, tall, skinny tight end, and now he's playing wide out. But he doesn't run quite like his dad did, which is good. But he can run, and he's very athletic.
Who's his dad?
Nate.
Nate Terry?
Nate's brother was Sean Terry. Yeah.
Okay.
How similar are he and Clark, and how much does it help this defense that they've gone against that throughout?
Well, I mean, anytime you get a guy that's 6'6", and he is all 6'6", then it creates an issue, you know, on the perimeter. There's not too many corners out there. That if you get a 6-foot corner, not just us, but anybody, you know, there's not very many corners out there taller than 6 foot at any level or any league. And so anytime you get a guy that tall, it does create problems.
Speaking of corners, how much growth have you seen out of Chris Jackson?
I thought Woody. I mean, from game one to get to now, he has. I mean, our issues the first couple of games were back end issues. You know, Rodney Allen was 13 out of 13 make a play, as you mentioned, played well there. You know, Chris for the most part, I think he made majority of his plays. So you see the growth there. You know, but we just got to continue to grow. We got to do a better job of tackling in space and doing a few things there. But I don't think there's any question that he's grown up a lot, and that needs to continue. And to his credit, he hadn't flinched, you know, because and that's good to see with him. I mean, he's gone to work every day and worked to get better.
Rodney be okay for this week?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, should be. He should be fine. Thanks, guys.